All right, so here I am out here with the GoPro, just doing a test. So this is a local YMCA and they have a trail around here. So I parked up there and yeah, we're just gonna test this out. I had to come in through a back part of the trail because there's still like a boatload of kids out here. So we'll make our way. I mean, it is a Y, but it's like 5 o'clock. So I chose to come this way, and I just kind of want to test out the camera and whatnot. So we'll walk this trail here. So the lighting's not great here because, I mean, it is daylight, but this is very shaded and green. And so I like that the screen cuts off when you're recording and the light blinks. All right, folks, welcome to my very informal video displaying footage from my GoPro Hero8 Black. I shot this about 8 or 9 months ago, and I've since gotten rid of the camera because it doesn't suit my needs. But I will say the GoPro is an excellent option for anyone who's outdoorsy or who likes to film sports or kind of action video type things. It's very durable, rugged, and small. It doesn't have autofocus, so every shot is pretty much crispy and on point. It has good color representation and all of that. The only drawback with it, shooting wise, is going to be, well, there's a couple. One is it doesn't do good in low light. Two is that it's such a small form factor that it's easy to shake and move about and bobble. It does have, great stabilization for that. But on the flip side, the thing does overheat if it's not super cooled, and the battery dies pretty quickly. But with all that being said, if you have a spare battery and you kind of work with it and baby it in certain situations, you can get some really good footage and edit it and make it into something that you want to see. Additionally, please understand this video is not narrated very well. It's pretty raw and unfiltered. It's a lot of heavy breathing and mumbling on my part while I walk through the woods and test this camera out. I've been in this area near the YMCA before, and it was like in winter time when it was very drab, very brown, no vegetation, and I was just enjoying nature while testing out this camera. Again, it turned out to not be for me. I will get another one later this year, but it's going to have to be a newer model that doesn't overheat. That has a little bit better battery life. I mean, those are the main two things that kind of frustrated me. Other than that, you can have a good time with the GoPro, even if you're not like skiing down some crazy mountainside or base jumping from somewhere. So anyway, enjoy the footage and thank you for watching. Probably good for short burst. And I actually wanted to use this camera when I went to St. Thomas. So obviously we did some snorkeling, we're in the water, and it was cool, it was great, but like the GoPro that I bought, the Hero8 that I bought, it was just defective out the box. Wouldn't charge, wouldn't cut on. So I should have checked it before, but I bought it like 10 minutes before Best Buy closed, the day before I left. Flew out at like 7 in the morning. So I really couldn't do much about that. So I had to use my old V60. But anyway, I wanted to make this video because I've been out here before, but not in the spring. I came out here in like, I don't know, maybe December, January, when it had just snowed. It was like really not green or lush at all, which is to be expected. But I wanted to check it out. This is on the other side of Turkey Mountain, if you're familiar with this area. And I won't stay out here too long. One of the things that kind of sucks about this is that There's always rain. April showers bring May flowers, and as soon as I got back from St. Thomas, it was like a high of 50 something for 3 days, and the rain started within an hour of me getting back. So that was cool, exciting. So, but I actually like the cooler weather, even though I was coming from a tropical climate. Obviously there are beaches there, things to do. Here in Oklahoma, it just gets hot. You got to go to work, you're landlocked, so it's not fun if you're not on a lake or something like that. So we're just gonna walk indiscriminately. I'll probably be out here for like 20 minutes. If you've been in Turkey Mountain, I mean, this pretty much looks the same. You know, it's a little bit different, but I will say, if you are looking into a GoPro, understand, I get the reviews that said these things get hot, because this thing's getting warm. And again, it's like 70 degrees out here with the breeze, and I'm in the shade and it's hot. So if I took this to the dealership where I normally record, and I'm getting in and out of cars in the sun, it probably wouldn't last too long. And they've cleared some of this stuff down, unfortunately. I don't know why they did that, but they did. All right, so this trail's super confusing. I'm just gonna do some tests, but I'm gonna run with it on hyper smooth. And so my purpose in coming back here was threefold: to test this GoPro, to plant a tree that I bought from Costco in the around Christmas time, and then also to see what this looks like in the spring, because it's probably the most beautiful. Unfortunately, got to be careful where I put the tree, because they're cutting stuff down around here, and that's no fun. I think the Pepsi Pass is like the shortest one, but we'll go this way. I don't know where I'm gonna plant this tree. It's so rocky around here, and in the areas that were kind of fieldy and open, looks like they have bulldozers that are coming through for some random stuff. I will say, if you come out here, there could be mountain lions. 1, could be poison ivy. 2, and then there's definitely snakes and stuff out here, but it's nature, so you're in their habitat. So I'll jump a little bit, see how the GoPro handles that. Nothing too crazy. Okay. Do a little trail run. My brother likes to trail run. So this thing is definitely getting warm. So maybe 4K 30 if you're not doing action. I mean, I just like to shoot in 4K because I hate looking on YouTube at stuff at like 480 and it looks so bad. But at the same time, I get it. Like, phones have been shooting 1080 for a while, like 2010 and stuff, but it was not great. So when you shot that, they were having trouble with light, processing data, just super choppy, and it just looked like maybe possibly enhanced 480, 720. So I get that. I'm not going to edit this footage. I'm just gonna string it together and post it, but this is what the GoPro looks like. Swing around, and it seems like the more I move and the more the camera has to do, the warmer it gets. So maybe if you had like a cooling pack, or just, yeah, some kind of cooling thing you can wrap around this to keep it cool, that would help it. Unfortunately, because again, it's cool right now, and this shaded area is probably 69, 68 degrees. So I mean, my hands are warm, but not warm as warm enough to get this camera cooking like it is. It's not burning hot, but you can just tell. So I'm gonna cut off hyper smooth and see what that looks like. All right, so now I'm recording without hyper smooth because I'm not doing a ton of action, and I just want to see what the difference is. It may not make a huge difference for me because I like, ooh, can we go this way? We'll check this out. But I'm not like on a mountain bike traversing this area. So if that were the case, I'd probably have hyper smooth on. Oh, shoot, Jesus loves me. Oh, I will say, if you come out to this area, this slatey type rock, I mean, it does have some divots and stuff, but it can be very slick. So I'm going to kind of come over here to Pepsi Lake, even though it can be tricky. You just got to know what you're doing. You're stepping on stuff so you can step through. And I am wearing a hat, so sometimes this lake can be kind of trashy though, because when I came over here before, if you're familiar with my channel, which I don't even remember, this is the area, there were like homeless people over here, which I'm not hating, but you know, you want to be mindful. There could be like trash and stuff over here, but this has more water than it did last time because it's just rained. So we can kind of walk up this area. I'll probably stay out here for like 15 minutes or so, but let me just run without hyper smooth. Now this is in no way an extreme sport, so it's not going to be like skiing down a mountain, but you can definitely tell whenever they're darting. Look there, you can definitely tell. Man, it sucks that they deforested this area. Kind of sucks, but I mean, if it overgrows, you can't see the lake. There's not access, so I don't know who makes that decision, because I don't know where the Wise Land ends and then the cities begins. So my book bag is hanging wide open. So the mission has changed a little bit. I want to be mindful of my time and getting back. When I was out here before last time, I got a little bit turned around, and I don't want to do that. Not that I'm going to get lost in the wilderness, but it is a good follow-up video. This is a nice area. This is as green as it's going to get. This is April with some rain. Maybe not. Maybe May will be a little bit more green because the rain just happened like 2 days ago, and it hasn't rained much prior to. But all right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and break in again here and say I apologize. So apparently I filmed this over a year ago. So I went to St. Thomas last April, and then I think I came back. I mean, I wasn't there. I think I was there for like 5 or 6 days, and 6 days. And then I came back and I exchanged the GoPro, and I wanted to take it out on a test drive. So this is going to be late April of last year. And as you can see, when I took off super smooth, the footage gets very, very shaky. I mean, it's always sharp, but it's just very jumpy. So one of the ways to kind of cut that down would be to, you know, if you're editing the footage, to change it to 30 frames per second so it won't show quite as much of the jitteriness and shaking. But yeah, let's jump back in. Which is largely tied to movement and the amount of light and things like that. It can overwhelm it to where, like on my V60, which is an older phone, it cut off. I was doing just a straight video on a stand. It cut off after about 15 minutes and then just cut back on and filmed like 5 more minutes before I came up and grabbed it. But we're gonna cut across here. Oh, you want to be careful walking through here. I don't really have huge sensitivities to like poison ivy. I remember people used to get it when I was a kid, but like I don't remember. May have had it once. I do remember we had lotion in there Mom had to put on my brother one time, so maybe that's selective memory. But okay, yeah, this area is pretty similar. I don't know what that guy was doing. Like, I saw him out the gate and then like turned around. He was. So I will say the GoPro cuts on pretty quickly. So I just pressed the top button and we're already recording from being off. So here's what I kind of did. Here's the tree. Sad tree, not native to this area. Maybe it's not even deep enough. And then there's like a tree root running through there from I don't know where. Like, because that tree doesn't look that great. But I'm gonna set a pin and probably come out here, I don't know, maybe in a month or so. That seems like a long time, maybe a month and a half, just to see what this tree is doing. So yeah. All right, so all in all, I'm at 50% right now. This GoPro is dying quickly. And it says I have 8 hours, 11 minutes at 4K 60, which is great, but that tree is looking very sad. But we're gonna go ahead and head back. A buddy of mine called me. I'll keep hyper smooth off. I mean, I've seen GoPros before do amazing things without hyper smooth, because that just came on the 7, and you know, GoPros were blowing up, you know, a couple years ago. I think the 3, 4, and 5 were really like heydays where people were jumping off the side of mountains and stuff. But this is cool, just to test it out. I mean, the form factor is great. It's small, it's easy to carry. You know, they have a ton of accessories. I kind of wish that it had the standard, you know, camera tripod thing at the bottom, which I'm sure there's an adapter for that. But I mean, other than that, it boots up quick. It starts taking footage quick. Pictures, I'm not really worried about. If you always have a phone, I mean, this thing's not gonna rival phones to me. Like, this one takes 12 megapixel shots. And I know they have a lot of new ones. And I just, like, I'm not at that level yet. And I don't need like a GoPro 11 or whichever one they're at right now. I don't need that. I could grow into that, but you know, then I can buy that. I got this one for like $250, which is fine. This is an 8. And I know the new ones probably have better battery life, but one of the concerns that I did have about these GoPros is the fact that, you know, they are overheating and they shut down. And you know, the newer ones will have newer, more efficient processors, but they keep adding features. Like, I think the 9 has a screen on the front, so they have an upgraded processor for it, but they add a screen to it. So it's like, even if it is more efficient, and that's cool, you can see what you're recording if you're doing like more vlog style or sit in a room style footage. But yeah, I'm not so sure. So here's me trying to hold it as far back as I can. And it shows how long I've been recording on the screen in the front, which is fine for me. Like, if I wanted a 9, I would have got it, but I really wanted one of these for the trip to St. Thomas, and gosh, that didn't work out. That's super frustrating, because we went on a 6-hour excursion snorkeling, so that would have been really, really good to have it there. And we went to like 3 different beaches, so a lot of water activity, and even just walking around, you know, a lot of times it's a lot of twisting and turning. And I had a backup phone, so, but if you don't want to mess with the functionality and additional features of a phone, the GoPro is just more straightforward. Even if you have a good old phone like I did, and I got some good 4K footage, you know, that I can post and use and create memories with. But you know, at the same time, it's just easier to click on the GoPro and within like 5 seconds I'm recording if something crazy's happening, or you know, we're driving around a windy road, especially in St. Thomas. So yeah, when it's super rainy, there's more water down there, so I'm glad for that. But there's a guy fishing, but it's getting late. I got out a little late today, and so I had some things I needed to get taken care of, and so yeah, all good. I cannot complain. I didn't have any to-dos like go to work, you know. So we're gonna come down here and kind of go back the way I came. Sometimes I kind of zigzag it, but I want to kind of make the most use of my time. Again, like, yeah, if you're walking back here, you might want to have on high tops and hiking boots. It's, you know. All right, folks, I want to pop in one more time and speak on two things. So in this video, it looks like I'm doing some very, very casual walking, and the footage is super shaky, and it is. But understand, this is very rocky, uneven ground to walk on, and I don't even have on the proper shoes. I have on some like low-cut old Nikes, and they're like Nike TRX or something like that. They don't have a ton of tread. I'm very fortunate I didn't slip and fall. I have pretty good balance when walking, but you know, my footwear was not a great choice out here today. And so I want to give the GoPro a little bit of grace, even off of super smooth, because I'm just walking and it's very, very uneven, a ton of roots, all those things. So there's that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the microphone on the GoPro. So I think the microphone is very, very good. Just for a camera, I'm going to say it's like an 8 or a 9. I know a lot of people deal with professional audio and isolated environments, but I'm more of the kind of person where I, you know, like to take footage, and I really don't modify the audio. There's no need for that for me. This is not, excuse me, a podcast or, you know, some kind of convention or something like that. So I think a lot of times audio gets dogged out on these, and you hear a lot of people, you know, talking about, I got to get this Rode mic, this shotgun mic, or even a little lapel mic that people have from Rode, and they sound good, but quite honestly, they don't sound that much better to me than the mic on this GoPro. And I think you have to understand, like, what is going to be the final product of your filming and footage. If you're uploading something to YouTube, or especially making a YouTube short or TikTok, like, they're going to compress whatever you upload, and it's just not going to sound as good. And I don't think audio is that much of a priority. Obviously, if someone else is shooting for you, or the camera's on a stand and you're away from it, yeah, having a decent mic is going to be ideal, because, you know, shouting from 10, 5, 15 feet away is not going to work and get the job done. But I say all that to say, this is a very, very solid camera. I'm glad I got it. I'm just going to whine in this video and say I cannot express enough how frustrating it was to buy a GoPro and get to a country where you've never been, you don't know when you're going back. I mean, they were the most beautiful beaches I've ever been on. And I've been snorkeling before, but not on a 6-hour excursion. And it was a legit 6-hour excursion. Like, we were out on the water for so long, and it was so beautiful. And it was like a super, super good, rich experience. It's like me, my sister, my 2 brothers, my parents. You know, it's crazy. We're all fit enough, well enough to be out here together, you know, having this family, you know, adventure. And it's just, it sucks. I couldn't get, you know, better footage with a GoPro, but that's life. Sometimes things happen. Again, like I said, I was able to use my V60, but it's not the same. I mean, it's super disappointing. I mean, because when you hop in the water and snorkel, like, we would pull off and have like 45 minutes at each stop. I mean, at one place we ate lunch, And so, you know, the tour guides and the captain were great. They stopped and kind of told us the history of the place, what kind of goes on. Some of the islands really didn't have people on them and things like that. And they told us about the different currents and wildlife and things like that. So a lot was missed by me not being able to have the GoPro like in the water on the side of the boat. That phone thing was not gonna work, and I had the phone in like a sleeve. It was this whole big ordeal. So thank you for hearing my rant on that and for watching this video. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Okay, and last thing, when I started filming this, I think the GoPro was at like 95%, and maybe I cut about 10 minutes of footage max off of this reel, and I stopped and it was at like 10%. So you really need additional batteries for this version of the GoPro. And if you upgrade, still get an additional battery, but it should be a bit better. I think they're at like 12 or 13 now as far as the version. So we'll see what that's like later on this year, and I will report back. Again, thank you for watching and have a blessed day. It may just be going in a sleep mode because I'm using the top record button in some instances to cut it off. I didn't even realize I could do that, but yeah, you know, if I was out here for 2-3 hours, I would expect to have at least 2.5 hours of footage, honestly. But I do have GPS on, so maybe I need to cut that off. All right, so I'm walking through this area that's been cleared out, and I think it may have been a little bit cleared out when I was here last time, but not as much. I mean, this area does look a lot different, and I think I could actually see to the road through these trees, because right now I'm kind of up. Not as far up as I was up that hill, but I did cut the GPS off on this GoPro, and so we'll see. So I apologize if this video is annoying. I'm kind of testing a GoPro, and yeah, I'm gonna head back because I think before there were no leaves, so I could kind of see out, which is fine. I love this. I love being nestled in forestry. So even though this is kind of a cleared area, which sucks, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head back. So we'll see if having the GPS off kind of affects the battery, because I know with a lot of smartwatches like Garmin's back in the day when I used to look at them with the GPS on, I mean, that sucker with like half the battery life. And because they try to be very accurate, you know, when you're plotting workouts and stuff and comparing, and you know, if you're getting ready for competitions and things, you kind of want to compare yourself against your team, make sure you guys are doing the work right. So I get that. And especially with this, like, if I would keep the GPS off unless you're making like an instructional video about traversing here, and you're gonna have commentary where you kind of zoom out and show where you are on maps. Just focus on the footage is going to be my thing. GPS is, I have my smartphone with me, and you know, I have a compass in case I'm like, which way, you know. So I don't really need to know where I was. I just need to film. So anyway, gonna head back, and yeah, check this area out. I know I only showed you like maybe like 10%, if that, of this area, but that's the case with nature. Like, you want to come out and see it for yourself, because depending upon your background and various other things, like, may not be great to you, or you may want something like Turkey Mountain where you can kind of... All right, folks, it's so hard to say goodbye. No, JK. I am a whole lie in this video. So One other thing I'd like to point out with the GoPro, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the GoPro, so there'll be some slight instruction in the end of this video, I guess, but is that when you're filming something with a wide angle, you want to watch your hands. So normally I'm using a phone to film, and it's kind of easy to put your hands around the frame of the phone, and your finger's not going to get picked up because I usually don't shoot in a wide angle. I do sometimes, and I tend to get fingers in the shot. So I say all that to say this: make sure you have your hands like far back on the device or, apparatus so that your fingers do not get into the footage, because that can be a really, really bad thing, especially if you're kind of looking outside of the viewfinder and just observing whatever space that you're walking in. You're not going to notice, and you're going to have some footage that's kind of ruined, or just some extra character for the footage that you did film. Honestly, I was just taking this thing out just raw without any kind of additional kind of gimbal or any kind of stand or something or another to hold it. I would recommend having something to be able to hold your GoPro, or having a helmet to film with. I think that's an acceptable thing. It doesn't kind of ruin the footage. Sometimes the shot does look a little bit awkward, a little bit high, and it just doesn't fit the first person kind of view when you have it on a helmet. But I definitely think, mounting the GoPro on something is the way to go. You can hold it by hand, but maybe just for brief periods of time. It also helps decrease shakiness. And just don't be afraid to film at 4K 30. So it's okay. You can do 1080. Other people won't judge you. I certainly will. But nevertheless, keep your fingers out the footage. Out of a lever and not expect it to move. But yeah, here's the lake out here. I filmed this before. There's the Y. So I'm gonna take this path, get out of here. I don't really think the GPS being off is helping the battery life. It's just dying super, super fast. So 4K 60 kills the battery. Maybe 4K 30 wouldn't, because it's half the frame rate, and GoPros do a lot of stabilization regardless, and this is a lot of information it's taking in, quite honestly. So you have a sidewalk, you have shade, you have light piercing through, so a lot of complexities in this shot. So I mean, there's definitely 4K's worth footage out here. I'm not just, it's not just my face that's moving around a little bit. So anyway, I'm gonna take this sidewalk out of here. It kind of weaves around. All right, and actually just I'm not going away. So my final thoughts, it sucks with this battery. I'm gonna get another battery because you want to have 2 or 3. I've been told that, but you can't beat this form factor. It's small and it's rugged. So you don't want to be running around with like a 6.5-inch cell phone in your hands, because you can hold this and kind of stabilize yourself. With a cell phone, you're having to hold it with both hands to stabilize it, because it can't do the job that the GoPro can of stabilizing. And then this is fixed focus, so that really helps. But yeah, like just the rugged ability. I can drop it in the mud, spray it off, pour water from my water bottle. It'll be okay. A phone, not so much. The speakers and grills and things aren't made for that. So phones say they're IPX, this or that. But when they get wet, you can't record anything, you can't hear anything. They're just not made for that. They're made for the occasional drop splash, but nothing crazy. So, man, and I keep thinking I'm done. And this thing's at 6%, which is perfect. But this is kind of the way you walk back. It's a nice area. There's that lake. And then I parked over here. You can see it borders the woods. You could go in that way, and Plenty of parking. So it's well kept. You even have like